Hi. That is what they say in Norwegian, or they say everything twice. Hi, hi. My name is Alfredo Zamudio, and started my journey in Norway like a meter ago, when I was 15 years old. Currently, I am the director of the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center in Geneva, and I am going to try to share with you some stories, and perhaps you will have some questions to me after the presentation, and I will be happy to answer some questions if I can. I was born in Chile in 1960, 53 years ago. I lived in a city called Arica, and you know Chile is that long piece of land on the left-hand side of the map, long. A land with good wine, good people, good meat. And I was living alone with my dad. He had gone through a very difficult divorce, and he was taking care of me. We lived there with our dogs or ducks, normal, boring, everyday life in the desert of Chile. And I could show you some pictures, but this is one of the few pictures I have 3 years before that time. I was the starter of a wannabe intellectual. I was reading Batman and the social newspaper at the same time. And I was dirty, I was happy, and everything was nice. Until one day, a beautiful day, perhaps like today, but that day was September 11, 1973. This happened. My father heard that that day was a military coup going on. So he told me, go to the store, buy some food, we are going to cross the border to Peru. My father had a difficult relationship with many people, not only with his wife, my mom, also with his family, his neighbors, and many politicians in that city. So he knew something was going to happen with him, so he told me, go to the store. I went to the store, and when I am inside, someone tells me, they're taking your dad. I looked outside, and I saw, and I was 12. Sort of recognized that that man was my dad, but I could not really believe it. So they drove in front of the store to the city, and that man was my dad. I came home. My neighbor said, they took everything. They were looking for you. We told them that you are not here, but they were looking for you. You better hide. I understood that hiding meant something else than hiding like I was playing at the school. So I needed to find a new way of hiding. And I did. I was really good at that. I survived, and I was 12. My father was a political prisoner for 3 years. And during that time, I followed him from prison to prison. For a period of 7 months, I had the help of a cousin of my father, but for the rest of those 3 years, I was alone. And I was hungry. And you see, I have not become like this just by miracle. I eat. And I was hungry. I was 12 and I was hungry. I was looking always for new ways of finding food. One day, I am walking on the street looking for my next sandwich. And I see a man, and he's telling me, you are Alfredo's son, aren't you? And I said, yes. My father was also very original. He called me the same as him. So, yes, I said, I am Alfredo's son. And I have understood that some men were not nice with young boys, so I was a little bit careful. But he invited me home. He said, I have something for you. So I went home with him. It was a simple room. clothes with newspapers on their walls, some nails hanging on the wall, clothes from the wall. He went to one of his shirts, took $50 or something similar, and he gave it to me. And he said, take this. Take it, go, come back, and show them that they were wrong, that what is happening to you is not right. For me, that was the first time in those months that I could sleep without nightmares. Someone had told me that what's happening was not okay. It was not the normal state of things. It should not be like that. Then, my father, I said that I followed my father. Then my father, one day, in one prison, I think it was near Santiago, he told me he had received a letter. He showed me the letter. The letter was from, at that time, an organization called IOM, and with the information that the Norwegian ambassador was going to visit my father for an interview, to come to Norway if the ambassador liked my father. That ambassador was a very good guy, and he's still alive. Ambassador, his name is Frode Nielsen, and many of you may know his name. So he met my father, he liked him, and my father was organized through IOM and through the Chilean authorities to go to the airport. They took the handcuff from him, the chains of the feet in front of me. They gave us $7, put us in the plane, and say goodbye. And our passport had only for exit only. They told, I think I may be too sensitive, but I think they didn't want us in Chile. And the day after we came to Norway, and about 2 weeks after we came, I stopped stuttering. My life was different. Something was behind, something was here. So let us look at this from a systemic model. What happened with us was that a military coup happened. There was no legal framework in place to help us or to help me. There was not even a word to define what I was. I was an unaccompanied minor, a homeless child, an internally displaced person. In the 1970s, there was no legal tools to define those situations. That situation affects millions of people today. My office, the Internal Displacement Monitoring Center, they do 2 reports every year. And our report of December 2012 calculated that at the end of 2012, 28.8 million people were internally displaced across the globe by violence. That is not counting those who were displaced by natural disasters. Of those 28.8 million, 6.5 million have been displaced in 2012 only. If we add the refugees, those who cross the border, then we come to 42.5 million people who were forcibly displaced last year, or until last year. How many are 42.5 million? It's a huge amount of people. If you start a queue, a line of people here, and go to the east, and continue going around the globe, they will come back here, and they will continue. That is so many, 42.5 million people. That is the situation of today. And for internally displaced people, it's serious because there's no legal instrument that can help them. For me, for my dad, it was a system that worked. In 1973, it was a system called the Refugee Convention of 1951. And that was applied by Norwegians, and it was accepted by Chile. We needed to leave the country, and we found security. And what it meant for us, my father was a free man, and we started to gain self-respect again, hope. We could plan, we could live a normal life because the Refugee Convention helped us. But for internally displaced people, there is nothing, with one exception. On December 6, 2012, there was a convention which was in place, ruling in place for 15 countries, African countries, that is called the Kampala Convention. The paradox of this is that Africa is also one of the most affected countries by both internal displacement and by refugee issues. At the same time, they have one of the best legal tools, which is the Kampala Convention. And why is it good? Because it says to countries, if you have internally displaced people by violence, by natural disasters, even by development problems, you have the duty to help them, and also host communities. That is revolutionary. I cannot stop wondering, what if in 1973 there had been a legal tool that could have been applied for the case of Chile? Where could I have been? What kind of things could I have been doing? Perhaps selling cars, but perhaps being much happier because those 3 years of hell had not occurred. Hope is not an anchor. The legal tool that the Kampala Convention represents is hope. Hope is a sail. It can bring you somewhere. It can lead you to the future. Imagine if people like you, like me, like them, could tell people, and governments could tell people, what is happening to you is not right. What is happening to you is unfair. But the situation at this moment is not like that. Internal displacement is a betrayal. It's a betrayal because someone is displacing you, and it's a betrayal because that country that you are a citizen of is not protecting you. Imagine then that there was a legal framework that says, despite something terrible have happened to you in our country, we are going to help you because that is my right as a government. That is my right and my duty as a government, and that is my duty as a citizen, as a fellow brother and sister of you. That is hope. Hope is a sail. It can bring you somewhere. When you move forward, then you change something. You change what you had before, you change where you are going, and that, friends, that is development. Thank you.